Mwayamba panga rekodi hapo.
Ndaona choncho. Okay, so I was trying. Sorry, Griffin.
Ndimaliza bwera mochedwa.
Watu bwezere chibongo. No, I was trying. Esnat, you want to speak?
Nope.
Okay. So I was trying to take you back so that you can see where we are going. So that when we talk about the next things, you should know where we are coming from. Okay? Because you remember, these things are moving on from this bigger topic, which is called national income accounting, which is basically the economists, accounting for economic activity. This GDP is not done by accountants. This national income accounting is basically kuona chuma cha ziko, accounting for the activities that are going on by government, by the whole economy. Okay, and then we moved from there to started talking about business cycle. So the reason I'm doing this is that when we are doing areas of study tomorrow, we will not be covering this one again, because it's one of the areas of study that you should read. So what I was emphasizing here is the relationship between business cycles and economic activity. What relationship are we building there? The relationship we are building is that economic activity, the national economic activity, this GDP is actually measuring what companies are doing. When companies are not expanding, they are not doing anything, they are not investing more, GDP will not grow. Economic growth will not be achieved. So when businesses are contracting, closing down factories, closing down their branches, it means they are contracting, laying off people. So in that situation, you cannot expect GDP to be big. It means GDP will decline. Economic activity will decline. There will not be economic growth. There will be economic decline. And that economic decline is the same as when you look at, you remember we had a diagram showing us, I think this one here. So when there's prosperity and growth, in businesses, that too will be reflected in growing GDP. And when there's a recession, when companies are closing factories, they are downsizing, they are laying off people, economic activity is declining. So in that case, you cannot expect GDP to be growing. Remember, from this graph, when it comes, it says recovery, prosperity, and then it says peak. As you are going up, you are increasing output. There is progress there. So you are, because remember, this thing from down there to peak, it can be 2-year period, it can be 3-year period. And then there, when you see this place called, this thing called peak, when you move from peak down to trough, that too can be 2-year period. Is that phase of the business cycle is not like a few months. So you will see a declining trend, for example, from peak to trough over the years, maybe 2-3 years. It depends. The government can intervene and make sure that we come out of it faster. or if it is expanding, if the businesses are expanding, recovery and expanding, this period too can be 2-3 years, but you can make them quicker. Government interventions can change this picture to have shorter periods, for example. That's what we were talking about last time we met. So I was reviewing it in anticipation of talking about study areas. So I will not talk about it again tomorrow. We have covered it. And it's a study area. Okay? So now,
business cycle, the study area,
sorry?
the business cycle you're just talking about is the study area also.
The business cycle is a study area also.
All right, okay.
What is
fine.
important is that this business area, cycle, is related to economic activity. Show me that. Tell me how it is related.
Okay, hatizajambula cycle, eh?
No, sinifuna palibirikasa pano pasinamaliza. Inflation is Shafiq, I'm not being hard on you. I'm just
No, I'm not saying Kuti should go back to the site. I'm saying Kuti tisakujambulirani pajamafuna zojambula.
oh. maybe the question will not be like that.
Tisajambulabe just in case.
Jambura a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
To put the point home, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so remember, the reason we are now moving to inflation is because we are talking about this situation. Let me go back. This situation where you have prosperity, recovery and prosperity. And then on the other one is recovery and expansion. These two areas are areas when businesses are doing very well and they are expanding and prices are rising. There is some kind of inflation there. Prices are rising, businesses are happy, they are opening up more production centers, they are happy, they are making money, and they are employing more and more people. There's full employment here. There's a lot of employment. Now, because prices are rising during these phases, prices tend to rise faster than the wages can rise. Companies cannot keep up with the adjustment on wages because people are complaining salaries are bad. Sorry, are bad in relation to rising prices of commodities. So companies respond, increase, but they don't match. So as a result, people start failing to lead a life that they were leading before. Okay, now we want to talk about this phenomenon of rising prices. Why are the prices rising here? It's because demand is higher than supply. Remember the theory of demand and supply. Prices increase when there's a shortage. So these businesses, the reason they are producing more and more and expanding is because there is a shortage in the system, and prices are increasing, and they are getting attracted by increasing salaries. Sorry, I keep on saying salaries. Rising prices. Okay. Now, rising prices is what is called inflation. Okay, so we want to talk more about inflation. So inflation is basically rising prices. in general. Other people say, because you remember, we said when there's a shortage, prices go up. So when there's a shortage, prices go up. It means and Rama, but they cannot find the goods. So amayamba kulimbirana, prices start going up. So some people have this popular definition which says inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. Basically meaning good shortage. Okay? Some people will just say it is excess demand. Demand is bigger than supply. You are talking about the same thing, because when you are saying too much money chasing too few goods, whether you are saying there's demand is more than supply, you are talking about the same thing. But a very different concept is that this price increase has to be sustained over a period of time for it to qualify as inflation. So it's not like prices have gone up from yesterday, maybe for the past 3 days, and then the 4th day they have gone down. You don't call that as inflation. Prices have been going up for 2 days. You don't call that inflation. It has to be a sustained rise. A sustained rise in prices. That you can call inflation. Not a one-off increase and then maybe a drop. No, it's a sustained increase. That's what you should call inflation. So it is rising prices, not high prices. So if something costs a lot, there's a high price for let's say cell phones, that you do not call that as inflation. Those are just high prices. So high prices are not the same as inflation. Inflation is rising prices, prices that are increasing in a sustainable manner. So it's an irreversible upward movement of prices. So another concept that related to inflation is that the demand is in excess of supply capacity. So supply is miserably failing to meet the demand. So features of inflation is steady price increases, there will also be a steady fall of value of money. So there will be a consistent rise in price levels. Secondly, there will be a steady fall in value of money. What do we mean? When you have 200,000, you are going to shop at ShopRite and you fill your trolley. When there has been a steady rise in level of prices, that same 200 kwacha will buy you half a trolley. So the value of money has gone down. That's what we mean by fall in the value of money. It's no longer buying the same quantity that it used to buy 2 months ago or 3 months ago or last year. Another feature is that there is an increase in money supply. There is an increase in the money supply because companies are selling are selling because of high prices. They are happy. They also increase people's salaries, and so there's a lot of activity in the economy, even though there is that shortage. Remember, this inflation is happening because there's a deficit. There's excess demand. There's a shortage. Now, because at this time, when this inflation is propelled by demand, this inflation is propelled by demand. And when we say demand, that's why on the definition, we had that definition which says too much money chasing too few goods. So there is a huge, a bigger supply of money. There is an increase in monies that is available to people. Mind you, so when there is inflation, companies try to increase your salary, even though they are not able to match. But in general, they are increasing your salaries. So there is more money with people. There's more money with farmers, for example, who are selling goods which are having higher prices. The companies are getting which are producing and selling, they are making money. The demand of goods is high. Excess demand. Too much money chasing too few goods. Okay? Quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. Employment opportunities tend to be higher. Can you see that this is related to the business cycle? You can see that is related to the business cycle, that upward movement. What is very key here is that this inflation is demand driven. And it is usually called demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation, meaning the prices are increasing because of excess demand. So it is demand pull. The prices are being pulled from down up by demand. So in terms of the study of inflation, let us say, it is usually caused by two major, maybe three. One is demand factors, which we have just been talking about. The other one is supply factors. Then the third one is expectations. So let's try to dissect one of these. On the demand side or causes, we have increase in money supply. Remember, companies are paying you better because they think you should get more pay because prices are increasing, and because companies are making profits because they are doing well, so they increase your salaries. So there's an increase in money supply. So there's an increase in disposable income, incomes that people are taking home. So if there's an increase in disposable income, money that people take home, it means you also spend more when you go out there to buy things. So an increase in disposable income will also mean an increase in consumer expenditure. You might even be having an increase even in foreign goods, for example, for imports. Also, because there is a shortage in your own country, some companies might actually be importing to satisfy the demand because there's more demand than supply. Now, on the supply side, prices will also be going up because everybody is employed. Remember, companies are trying to meet the demand. There's shortage of supply. So they employ as many people as they can, paying people, increasing salaries of existing and employing more and more. So there is full employment. But there will also be shortage of labor. There will be shortage of equipment. There will be shortage of raw materials. Because there's too much demand now because every company wants to expand. So they will create a shortage of labor and a shortage of equipment and raw materials and all that. Now we have less than a minute. We'll be cut. When we get cut, please just stay in there. Within 5-6 minutes, we will reconnect and continue. You know, this is 40 minutes, as I said last time. So we have already almost exhausted that. So I'll log in again. So you can stay there. 5-6 minutes, I'll find you in the system. So export opportunities will also be there. Okay. And there will be a wage price spiral. Okay, meaning wages will start increasing because
Sir.
companies are trying to